Your 2024 Philadelphia Eagles have officially clinched a playoff spot in the 2024 NFL playoffs for the fourth consecutive year. They have won their ninth straight game. They are 11-2 on the season. They are still fighting for the number one spot in the NFC. Where am I hearing myself back at? There it is. There it is. Okay, we're good. So right. I had some feedback. However, Scotty, not everything's all sunshine and rainbows, my friend. There are still complaints. There are still things people are nervous about or nervous and reluctant to fully believe in. Things we have seen them do and accomplish and be great at in the past and get them to a Super Bowl. We're going to talk about it, man. We're going to talk about this passing game. We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts. We're going to talk about A.J. Brown's comments. We're going to talk about this victory because it is another Victory Monday here on the Phaithful Phanatics show. The Sixers, don't look now. Martian, man, could not tell you. Might have more today, so just beware of the issues. But the Sixers have won 4 of their last 5. Juan Soto is not coming to Philadelphia, Scotty, but you know who is? Jordan Romano. Closer.
Is that your consolation? Is that your consolation for the best player available going to our arch nemesis?
Yeah, sure is. But anyway, guys, everyone, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. Make sure to tap in and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here and be interactive with us. Like Hunter, like Martian, like D-Rab. Subscribe, like the video, share it out, do whatever you got to do. Scotty, my man, happy Victory Monday, brother.
Happy Victory Monday. And it isn't just Victory Monday for the Birds, Martian. It's Victory Monday for them Sixes. 4 in a row with Paul George in the lineup. How do you feel about that? Embiid coming out 31 points in 33 minutes. That's the Embiid I know. Triple-double Maxi. Call him Magic Maxi. That's the Maxi I know. The Sixers are back. They won 4 out of the last 5, though. They have a favorable part of the schedule coming up, so there is a little room to be optimistic. But no, it's Victory Monday for them Birds, man, locking up a playoff spot. That's the flagship team of the city right now. And it's also Victory Monday, man. I know it's low key in the Phillies show, but Duke won yesterday as well, man. So
comeback too. I checked.
They were down by double digits and ended up winning by double digits. I had to put it on, Martian. I know. Don't get me wrong. I was down in the dumps, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows with the Sixers right now, even after a couple of wins.
2 out of the 8 seed. 2 out of the 8 seed, Martian.
No, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, Martian. I ain't gonna sit here and try to lie to you like that, but nonetheless, a good weekend of Philadelphia sports, I must say. So I'm pretty happy this Monday, man.
Yeah, man, but not a lot of people are. And that's where I want to start the show because we were going to have this discussion on Friday.
Yeah.
Shout out to Martian for talking about the streaming issues. We had issues Friday, couldn't get it in Sunday. We're hoping that we bully our way through the show and we don't have to use and transfer over to the laptop at some point. But we were supposed to talk about the comments being made nationally in Philadelphia, the Fanatic, Emmanuel Acho, a lot of different people discussing Jalen Hurts and this passing attack. And at that time, when we were going to discuss it on Friday's show, I believe we had the 27th or 28th ranked passing offense in the National Football League. Fast forward to today. Yesterday, they played the worst defense in the National Football League, and we have dropped to now the worst passing offense. Numerically, we are 32nd ranked through the air on the season, man. And it's bringing up a lot of questions. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith were seen talking a lot on the sidelines yesterday, some frustration. A.J. Brown made some comments to the media after the game, after a win, talking about the passing game. Sirianni, Hurts, that they've all addressed it. And don't get it twisted, man. When you have 46 passing yards, especially against the Carolina Panthers at halftime, when he's holding the ball a little too long, he's missing ribs. Like, I am not putting on the Jalen Hurts cap today and the cape today, like Martian likes to say, and I'm not going to sit here and defend this guy and talk about how great he's been. They're not the 32nd ranked They're not the 32nd worst or best pass offense in the National Football League, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I just think that context matters, man. If we would have talked about this on Friday, I would have went down the list. We talked about this all the time when Brian Pumper was in the comments talking about Jalen Hurts and the
not
under
here
200, the under 200 passing yards. And it's like, does context matter to anybody? Does it matter when they beat the Giants 28-3? Does it matter when they have a 3-possession lead against the Bengals and they're running the ball all fourth quarter? Does it matter when Saquon Barkley is literally running for history this year?
Yeah.
Does any of that matter? Because context does matter in this case, Scotty. Look, there's issues. Don't get me wrong. It's not perfect right now. I don't know whether it's Jalen. I don't know whether it's a mixture of the play calling, Kellen Moore, etc. They have to be better at just getting A.J. Brown the ball early, specifically in games.
Yeah.
There's no reason the first quarter A.J. Brown doesn't have a target. Same thing we were talking about with Saquon Barkley earlier on in the year. But when people are taking it to another level and starting, and now after they just beat the Ravens a week ago and then beat the Rams before that and beat the Commanders before that, and Saquon Barkley 300 all-purpose yards and this and that, people are now starting to question, will Jalen Hurts in this passing game hold them back from getting to a Super Bowl? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Can it be better? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But it doesn't have to be right now, man. Because the only statistic that matters, Scotty, is that one that goes under the win column right now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. And I think I started the morning on the opposite end of the scale, because I saw some people out, and there are the people that put on the cape for Jalen Hurts, and, he's done nothing wrong in their eyes. Like, he's just the winner, all the intangibles. That's the other side of it that is not completely true either, right? Like, he does make mistakes, just like every other quarterback in the NFL. And that's why the tweet that I put out this morning, I started it by saying Jalen Hurts is easily a top 10 quarterback in the NFL as a passer, at all of it involved, right? All the intangibles, a winner, all of it included. He is a top 10 quarterback in this league easily, man. But that's also, it comes with deficiencies. Why isn't he easily or definitively top 5? And this is the little nitpicking that I think we can get into fairly about Jalen Hurts. I think when you're talking about top 5 or top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, and we're trying to rank these guys individually amongst each other, sure, we can get into little intricacies of each and every stat and statistic and, what Hurts is struggling in here. I think that's all fair because he has struggled at times with holding on to the ball too long, with missing a read, right? Like it happens to every quarterback though, right? And it's the quarterbacks that it happens to the least that end up in those top 3, top 5 discussions. It's the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, right? They do that stuff. They miss these opportunities, or maybe it's more that they make these big plays at more of a clip than Jalen Hurts. Maybe it's all of that involved, but I started it that way for a reason because I don't want to seem like I'm coming down on Hurts, whereas there is just a little bit of a concern, and I think it's fair to have a concern. Does it mean you're not winning the Super Bowl? No. Like there's concerns for every single team that are across the board right now, man. Like no team is perfect.
I hear Martian. What's the difference between context and excuses? It's a fine line, to be quite honest with you. But the context is Devontae Smith has missed 3 or 4 games. Dallas Goedert is out for the rest of the regular season. Dallas Goedert is only going to end up playing 6 or so of the regular season games. A.J. Brown has missed 3 or 4 games. Jordan Mailata missed 4 or 5 weeks. Lane Johnson missed 2 or 3 games. That's context. More context. They don't have a running back that's just out here having a career year or a great year. They have a running back that is quite literally on pace to break the all-time rushing record. So, if Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore were to come out and throw the ball 33 times on Sunday afternoon this week, Scotty, what would people be saying? Well, where's Saquon Barkley? Why aren't they running the football? Guys, there's only so many many plays to be called throughout the course of a game. There's only one ball to go around. So if Saquon Barkley is going to be running with the football 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 times a game, how many pass attempts is Jalen Hurts going to accumulate over the course of this game? And again, he's been far from perfect. The first quarter was disgusting to watch. He did miss AJ on this touchdown. He was wide open. But then he threw a touchdown to Devontae Smith on the very same play. He holds on to the ball for too long. We've seen that, man. But it's just like, what are we sitting here talking about? Because again, why? Because it was a close game versus the Panthers 2 weeks ago when they won and the passing game was and they beat the Ravens. All was merry. It was happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving. We're going to the fucking Super Bowl. This is the best team in the world. It didn't quite matter. But because there's a closer game to a lesser opponent, now all of a sudden, we have a major problem. Since people like to throw out statistics, Scotty, I'll read one to you from Jeff Kerr. Jalen Hurts has more fourth quarter touchdowns than incompletions during the Eagles' 9-game winning streak. Hurts has a 152.6 quarterback passer rating in the fourth quarter of the 9-game winning streak. Does that matter? Doesn't matter.
It does, but that's like a cape stat. I do think that's a cape stat. Like, it does matter, but it does matter just as much as the first quarter matters. Like, starting slow. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not putting the cape on for Jalen Hurts today. And that's what I meant to Marston, because, like, he's saying that I cape for him with what I said earlier. He is easily a top 10 quarterback. Like, that's not a discussion. In reality, if you don't carry bias, like, Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. Like, I don't get that conversation. But I do think that is kind of a cape stat, man. Like, he has had the slow starts, and it is a concern. Like, I get it's the Panthers, and it is a sense of, like, maybe they're playing down to their competition. I'll throw this out there too, man. We haven't said it, but the Panthers are a little bit better than their record is. Like, that's the simple truth at the end of the day as well.
Better than their record is. I saw lately, over the last 5 games, they won their first 2. They lost to the Chiefs on Black Friday, the week before Black Friday by a field goal. Then they just lost in overtime by a field goal to somebody else this past week. So, it's like, the Carolina Panthers are bad, Scotty. They're not a good football team.
Yeah.
But they've been playing other Super Bowl contenders very closely. Yeah. In fact, it took a Patrick Mahomes-led drive and being bailed out by the referees to kick a game-winning field goal against those same Carolina Panthers. Or that was the Vegas Raiders. But same thing happened with the Panthers 2 weeks ago when they blew an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter. So, again, that's what I mean by context. Like, people just want to take it. Well, they played the Panthers. The Panthers suck, so why did Jalen only have 46 yards? Well, let's dive into it. That's the part that bothers me, man.
Yeah, no, I do feel you. There has to be, like, some balance here between the two just extremes, I believe. And that's what I'm trying to kind of insinuate here. But I do think, like, let me ask you this. When A.J. Brown comes out and is visibly frustrated the way he is during the game, after the game, it's not that I'm concerned about their relationship. It's not that. Right. It just shows me that there is an issue. Like, it's not that people are just making this out of thin air. Like, there is an issue with the passing game.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I agree with Martian here, and here's my thing, man. I'm not gonna lie, I hate that AJ Brown did what he did. Because it's not the first time that AJ Brown has made public comments. Here's why I don't like it. You won the game to continue to put onto a 9-game winning streak.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, you had 106 yards and a touchdown. Like, I agree. AJ Brown needs to get the ball more, especially early. I'm not fucking saying that. My point is, there's a C on your chest, brother. Your team just won the game. You've won 9 in a row. You're carrying your way through to a division title. You're fighting for a 1 seed, and you're going to come out and. I think we all know what he's saying. Like, he didn't say Jalen's name.
Yeah.
I mean, he's either calling out his coaches or Jalen or his quarterback. It's one or the other, or a combination of both. And my point is, you won. And it's not the same as, they won like they were winning last year. Because up until this past ugly win versus Carolina, everything else has been sunshine and rainbows within this team. So it's not like it's been an extended period of time where he should be frustrated. It's like, I just don't love the timing of this because I saw I saw a video of him and maybe it's people reading too much into it. I understand it, but it's like the Calcaterra touchdown. I think AJ was open on it or whatever, and he hit Calcaterra for the touchdown, and AJ just kind of like walked away. Like everyone was celebrating. AJ just like put his head down and walked the sideline. It's like, it could be nothing. But brother, if you're moping because of that, like again, your team has won 9 in a row. Let's relax.
I know, man. That's the thing. Like wide receivers, it's just what they are. They come with egos, man.
I know.
And
I agree.
at the end of the day, you walk into that game, Dylan. You walk into that game against the Carolina Panthers yesterday, and you think that you're walking out only winning by 6, and we're like backs against the wall at the end of the game. Like, just like literally on the brink of giving up a game-winning touchdown to Bryce Young. Like, that's where we were at yesterday in reality. So I think if I'm A.J. Brown coming from that mindset, it's not necessarily like the targets. It's not necessarily that one instance in the end zone or this one first down or this one play at the beginning of the game. It's the overall result of us being a little nervous at the end against the Carolina Panthers, on top of having a total of 108 passing yards. Like, they weren't having fun in this game against a 2-8 Panthers team. And I think that's where a little bit of the concern comes from, is like, we've had like the big games against the big competition. And I know that that's what matters at the end of the day. It is just a little odd that they just can't let loose and have a 200-yard passing day through the air. Like, they didn't give Saquon the ball that much in the first half for it to just be a Saquon thing.
They threw the ball 21 times in this game.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like they were airing it out. And then it could be Jalen missing reads. It could be Jalen being too conservative. It could be the play calling being conservative in this one, because 14 of 21, like 108 yards, you took nearly no shots on the field, if you took any, right? So it's weird. It could be a combination of all things, but I just think, like, man, like, I hear what you're saying. In a perfect world, yes. And when you're beating the teams you're beating, and then you get Carolina coming into town and you're 14-point favorites, we're sitting here like, man, like, pound our chest, like this game's a wrap, right?
Yeah.
But like, again, the Chiefs only beat them by 3.
Yeah.
The Rams, who we just demolished in SoFi Stadium 2 weeks ago, just scored 44 points and beat the Buffalo Bills yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you get, I understand like how it should be. We just know it doesn't play out like that. And I know Martian's tired of hearing the phrase because we said it so much last year and we were wrong, but a win is a win at this point of the year. And when Detroit escapes with a win on Thursday night, like they did, right? That's a perfect example. If Matt Eberflus and Caleb Williams do not do what they did on Thanksgiving Day, the Detroit Lions may have lost the Chicago fucking Bears.
Yeah.
It's not like, so yes, it's the Panthers. You were at home. Other great teams lose and or struggle to bad teams in this league. The Eagles came out with a win. We can keep coming back to the Jalen thing. I do agree with this.
Well, before you move to that, I just wanted to say next week you get a great test. Jalen's going to have to throw the football. So all of this, you know what I mean? Like, to the point of this show, like, all of this really doesn't matter. They're winning games.
Agreed.
This upcoming week, I guarantee the Steelers are going to have a game plan for Saquon and highly focus on stopping him. And I think they will be halfway successful. I think they'll be more successful than the Baltimore Ravens in doing it. And I think Jalen is going to have to make some throws in this game against the Steelers. So we're going to get whatever anybody's looking for out there, like a test, a goal, whatever you want to see. You're going to get to see it. So,
man, the thing that pisses me off is, like, the Steelers are really like the last quote unquote test, right? But we just went through this test phase where they aced every single one. And it's like, we just keep looking for problems. I'm not sitting here telling you it's not a 1% problem. I'm not saying there's not something here to look at and something that needs to be fixed. But I'm talking like to the people, not you. I'm talking to the people out there that are like, hey, this is going to hold them back from getting to a Super Bowl. So, like, if you are looking for that test this week against the Steelers, so what? Like, what? You know what I like? If they are to beat the Steelers and they win out, that means the Eagles win 13 straight games to end the season, and they pass every test. So then, what are you going to tell me if they lose to the Steelers? That they're not real? that they're not legit?
No.
Not you. I'm saying the people. I'm saying the people out there that need to see this passing attack.
If Saquon gets shut down and we can't throw the football,
I agree. I mean,
like it will happen if that happens. Like that can't happen. But I think for me, man, it's not that like I keep looking for the next test. I guess it's more that I want to be prepared for anything that we could see in the postseason. So if we get to Super Bowl Sunday and we play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl and they figure out a way, Steve Spagnuolo figures out a way to shut down Saquon Barkley, I need to just know that we can. You know, like that Jalen can have a 300-yard passing game. I know he's done it in the past. I know. I mean, but you just want to see it. You know what I mean? Like you just want to see it. But if no team can end up stopping Saquon, then maybe you don't have to go down that path. It's more just like a preparation thing in my mind. But I do agree overall. The win is what matters. If you go out here, you run the ball 40 fucking times and you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 30-3, it does not matter how many times you threw the football. I would just have to see it in the Super Bowl in order to not worry at all about the passing game, if that makes sense.
Correct. And look, because he can put it to bed. I think that's your point. He can put all of the noise to bed if he goes against this defense and shows the other side of our offense, right? It's just what's the balance? Because, again, you have to give him the opportunities and he has to have the passing attempts to be able to provide you with those numbers and those throws. And if that comes to a point where they're throwing the ball 28, 29, 32 times against the Steelers and Saquon only gets the ball 15 times, you know the other side of the coin. You know what's coming down if that happens. So it's a balance. And here's I know I sound like I am just fucking defending this dude blindly.
I don't think you are. I don't think it's like that.
I just want to tell you, since the winning streak started, the first game against the Browns, he was 16 of 25, 264, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Since then, he has thrown the ball 14 times, 20 times, 24 times, 20 times, 28 times. He's 18 of 28 for 221, 22 times, 19 times, and 21 times. Dude, he's not throwing the ball more than almost 20 times a game. Other quarterbacks around the league are throwing the ball 30, 35, 40 times a game. So, the numbers, it's difficult. It is difficult. But if I have like something I can watch on film and tell you, like, that's the one thing that I'm worried about with Jalen in this passing game is because it's not just this year. It's something we've talked about in the past with them. It's seeing the field. It's missing reads. It's
middle of the field.
That to your point, like, man, I hope that doesn't bite us in the biggest stage. But when we were in the biggest stage before, didn't bite. So, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I have some history there to look at. But yes, like, don't get it twisted. He has held onto the ball too long. It misses wide open reads sometimes. He doesn't go through his progressions quickly enough or the right way. I texted him immediately with 6 minutes left, man. He takes that sack because he slid instead of just throwing the ball away as if they wanted to stay in bounds and chase the clock. Like, dude, there's 6 minutes left. Like, well, like you just lost 7 yards.
No, I agree.
Throw the ball away. So don't get it twisted. There are things to clean up. I agree. A.J. Brown needs to get the ball, especially earlier in games. And it shouldn't be that difficult to get A.J. Brown the fucking ball, dude.
Yeah. But I think that's the other side of the coin. And to your point, you know, as we're talking through this, it almost just sounds like so childish. You know, because like, what is it? Like, we just haven't had like that deep long ball to AJ Brown in a while. Like, is that what it is? It's been like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like we just need to see a 50-yard bomb from Jalen, right? Like, that'll calm everybody down. But I do agree. I agree with what you said as well, man. I don't think we're on the opposite end of the six. I'm more presenting a devil's advocate conversation than anything. But I do agree with this comment from Martian. Playoffs is a test. Who gives a shit about the Steelers? In reality, yes. Like, you can go out and throw 300 yards against the Steelers this weekend and then still suck through the air in the postseason. So to that point, it's very fair as well. Says he trusts AJ and Smitty. Yeah, regardless of the deficiencies. Yeah, a lot of the time they're so open, it's going to be hard to miss them. Hunter says, I just think it's making it so much harder to beat these good teams in the playoffs. He doesn't think that the passing is the deficiency. It's just him not making the right read quick enough. That is it. Yeah, I do agree with that. Even on the Smitty, that one Smitty throw in the red zone, it wasn't the touchdown, but it could have been a touchdown if he hits him on time.
Down the boundary.
It is little things, but Smitty hasn't been in the lineup, man. Like, that is the truth. Like, at the end of the day, to have that chemistry with Smitty, he hasn't been in the lineup, and I think maybe that was something with AJ too. Maybe he just hasn't been used to playing, with Smitty on the opposite and like splitting those targets. Yeah. Get over it though. I do agree with that about AJ too. At the end of the day, I think we can expect it from time to time. Like, you got to get him the ball. Like, I get it, but like, just shut the hell up, dude. To your point. So I do get it, but Jake Elliott, man, I was torn at the end of the game because it was 4th and 8. We're in plus territory. I was torn at the end of the game. I get why you don't trust him, though. I definitely didn't trust him from 50 and beyond. I don't even trust him 45 and beyond, man, to be honest.
0-4 this year from 50 plus. He's like 0-for-7 or 0-for-8 now on the year from 50 plus yards. Before that, I think he had 1 or 2 misses in his entire career from 50 plus. He's 0-for. That's a problem, dude. Because when you're talking playoff football, when you're talking cold weather, like, normally you get yourself to the opponent's 37, 38, 39-yard line. You can trot Jake Elliott out there and feel good about getting points on the board on that possession that you went, a certain length of the field. Now, I mean, you're talking about having to get to inside the 35 of your opponent. I think he missed 2 extra points against Washington. I don't even remember what he did against Washington.
Was it the Jags game that he had the horrible performance? Yeah, Jags game. He cost us like 9 points in that game, man.
Well, no. I think he missed one in the Jags game. The Jags game is when Nick didn't put him out there and then brought him out there for like the 60-yarder late in the game. Cleveland, he was bad, and Washington Thursday Night Football, he missed like 2 field goals and an extra point or 2 whatever it was.
So that's the 7
and
points.
And then you had this one. I think New Orleans he missed. So, dude,
it's
definitely a problem.
Yeah, it is, man. And the weird thing, I guess, the reason it wasn't at like the front of my concerns for the team is because I'm looking around the league and it feels like everybody is dealing with this shit right now. Like, obviously, Justin Tucker's is a big example out in Baltimore, but you go across the league, there's guys that are typically money that are just not reliable.
Except the Kansas City Chiefs, who lose their Pro Bowl kicker and have 2 more come in, and they haven't missed since they've come into the league. Like, they doink one in for the win last night.
Had the best everything, I guess, like at all levels, right? Like, it is annoying, but it is a problem. I do agree. It's a problem, and I don't think you can fix it like in season. That's the major concern there. You're not going to switch kickers, especially Jake Elliott, who I think they just gave an extension to before the season.
They did, and so I do agree. It's such a tough point of the season, and that was such a tough part of the game to make that decision for Nick. Because, and I think he made the right one, especially with the way this defense has been playing, by making them have the drive further down the field and get 6 on you to win that game ultimately. Yeah. I think Nick went correct there. But it's like you have to balance, man. Like you're going to have to rely on Jake later on in the year and in the postseason. It's a balance of, man, do I want to kick this guy while he's down and basically tell the world I don't trust you right now?
Right.
Or do I want to possibly put our team at a great risk of being upset today because you miss yet another kick for us? And that one was on the verge of like 56, 57, 58 yards at that point. You punt them. They end up winning the game. That's what you do. But now you got to start to think,
moving
man,
forward.
now it's creeping more in Jake's head. And,
because if that's the Chiefs, I don't know why the Chiefs are at the front of my brain right now, but if that's the Chiefs, if that's Patrick Mahomes and you give him the ball back, like that's not an option. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Panthers. It's Bryce Young. You can do that in this game. You can trust your defense in that case. But even if that's Joe Burrow, I'm not giving the ball back to Joe Burrow, and they're like fucking 2-8 right now. So, like, that's where that concern comes from ultimately. You get away with it in this game, but there's going to be tight games in the postseason. there's going to be games that come down to Jake Elliott's leg. And that's a major concern. My heart's going to be skipping beats like in that scenario, especially in the postseason, man. But I guess you just have to hope and like maybe just like dig into that trust that you have built with Jake Elliott over these years and like just really pray that he can just turn it on and become reliable as the season goes on. But you don't really have another option. So let me ask you this. Any concerns on the white-on-white crime that went down yesterday on the defensive side of things?
It's like the first sneak peek we got of Cooper DeJean looking human. I know he's old, man. Like, I get it. And he's definitely not the fastest guy that is squared up on this year. It's Adam Thielen.
He's technically sound.
Yard guy. He's savvy. He's a vet. He's a good route runner. I mean, you're talking about Cooper DeJean's what? Like 8th, 9th start in the National Football League going up against Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
He got the best of them, what, 2-3 times? Like, I think people were like starting to act like this, like, happened all game long. Like, no, he got beat like twice, maybe 3 times. That was it. But he bit on that double move on the right boundary pretty bad.
When you see him against the Rams and Cooper Kupp, and then you see him against the Bengals and Jamar Chase, it's like, oh, well, why is this happening against Adam Thielen? But you know, every dog has their day. These are young guys; like they're gonna have bad days. Luckily, Q hasn't had a signature bad day just yet. But I do agree. I'm not like worried about Cooper DeJean by any means. He's a highlight on the defense, if anything, man. Safety position getting hella thin right now too, though.
Yeah. Also, like I know this is about to sound crazy.
Yeah. What's up?
Where's James Bradbury? What was this man rostered for?
I feel you, though. I feel you.
There's no way he's still hurt.
Like to the point where McCullum's out there?
Safety.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. He's going to have to suit up soon, man. If he's ready to go, he's going to have to suit up soon because we can't live like this. I guess Reed will be back. Should be back.
Yeah, he only
this
had
week.
Concussion? I don't want to say only a concussion, but that's normally a one week type of thing.
So maybe we don't have to jump to the Bradbury just yet. Avonte Maddox or James Bradbury? Which one?
Oof. Dude, I don't know.
Recency bias.
I gotta see Bradbury at safety. I don't know. I can't make that adjustment.
Right. That's the benefit of doubt we can give Bradbury.
Made a hell of a play on special teams, so I will give him that 1 ounce of credit he deserves there. Wait, what's he saying?
I don't know. I only saw like one other comment, like since the Barkley one, man. We're getting you all involved here, man. We're not biased here.
The comment is 5:32. What's this dude talking about? Ignored over here.
It's 5:38.
Yeah, cut this mic, dude. What was I gonna say? Oh, so this game overall, because I feel like what we've talked about and what has gotten a lot of the attention in surrounding the Eagles, today and the past couple of days has kind of been just like these narratives, these storylines, talking about Jalen in the past game. We're talking about Jake's struggles, and it's not just this game. But a lot did happen in this game, and I think that's like the annoying thing. And because it was such a sloppy, ugly win against such a lesser opponent, it takes away. But Saquon officially breaks LaShawn McCoy's all-time single-season rushing record in Philadelphia Eagles history, man. He goes for $124 again yesterday. Almost broke a couple. First of all, I want to know one thing. As a Saquon,
I didn't even see him get 100+. Like easy.
As a Saquon Barkley fantasy owner going into the playoffs for fantasy football, I want to know why that one play wasn't
reviewed. Yeah,
why it wasn't shown on replay on television. I mean, unless the ref from 5 yards back yonder got just this clear view of his knee hitting before he laid out for the goal line. I mean, his helmet and chest were over the goal line.
They put him like 1.5 yards back too.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Like,
they didn't mark it like this short, dude. They put it like behind the 1 yard line. So
I was surprised they were going with the tush push after. Yeah. Like, honestly, I was surprised. It was kind of far, but
we tried to give Saquon one more run. He got stuffed. The line got pushed back, and then we went to the tush push, and Jalen ultimately gets in. But Saquon breaks the record. I believe that was Grant Calcaterra's first career touchdown.
Smitty gets on the board.
Smitty gets on the board in his return. I know Martian talked about it. Jalen, no turnovers, 3 total touchdowns in this one, but you wouldn't fucking know it. But I think in an ugly win, I'll put it this way: it was nowhere near like the concern you had last year, right? In an ugly win, they scraped by the Panthers, but you see, this and this. It was nothing like that. Like, I know there's all this talk going on right now. It still doesn't feel like that to me. Like, there was no point in time, man. I was sitting there watching the game, we're in trouble.
Well, when Leggett rolled into the end zone.
Well, yeah, and I don't know how that ball slipped through his arm. I also don't know what Gardner Johnson was doing on that play.
Yeah, man. I don't know where his head is at sometimes.
His feet were just stuck in the mud and couldn't move, and the ball just went right over his head, dropped in a bucket, and Leggett somehow didn't come down with it, man.
This is a great point, and I do think, man, add what 7 more touchdowns to his.
I mean,
his total?
if Saquon Barkley got 90% of the touchdowns Jalen Hurts gets inside the 2-yard line, Saquon Barkley would be approaching 20 rushing touchdowns on the year.
Yeah.
With 4 games left.
Yeah.
And you add in possibly going for 2,000 plus, breaking the record. He's got 2 or 3 receiving touchdowns. I think that would play a narrative into it. But again, the good thing for him, the good thing for Jalen, the good thing for his team is they seem to be egoless, and it doesn't matter. And if as an Eagles fan, like I said, I have him in fantasy. I would love for Saquon Barkley to get the looks at the goal line that he probably even deserves if he was on any other team.
Yeah.
But when you have that play that works 9 times out of 10, especially when you have first or second and goal, and even if you get stuffed once, good luck continuing to do it. Like, that play is going to get you in the end zone and get you 6 points. And that's all that fucking matters if you're an Eagles fan and when you get down there. So, I think he definitely would have a much more a bigger case than.
I do agree, man. I wanted to shout out 2 more guys. I don't know if we're moving on from the Birds just yet or not, but Zach Bond, once again, just in the backfield, man. 3 tackles for loss, a sack. 11 total tackles and assists. Nakobe Dean, once again, all over the field as well, led the team in tackles. You texted me this at the end of the game. He made a big play at the end of the game. Darius Slay showed up in this game, which was great to see, man. He gets picked on a lot within the fan base. I buy into it sometimes because his personality isn't really my favorite, but he's a solid player. He's a good player to have in that secondary with his experience, what he brings, and the confidence, man. The confidence does help. He's confident in himself and he's confident in the rest of those guys. So
Darius Slay is 1,000% a fine to very good player in the secondary when you have everything else around him. It's a much different look when Darius Slay was your true and only number one.
Yes, to chase guys around.
And even the fall off from Slay to number 2 was, oh my God,
even crazier
on here. And it's like you add in Q, you add in DeJean, you add in the linebackers, and then just the total core of this defense. You throw him in the midst of it all, it's not really a problem. Because someone's getting picked. Like, there was a couple times I was going to text you, and I was going to be like, man, they like, it's always him. Like, they're picking at him. And it's like, well, they have to throw the ball somewhere. And clearly, like, the way that Quinyon Mitchell's playing, no one's throwing his way. So they're throwing at a corner. And, so it happens. So it's not like he's getting fucking torched like he's Nnamdi Asomugha. It's nothing like that. So
CGJ laid a nice little pop at the beginning of the game, man.
He is the most like up and down roller coaster of a secondary player to ever watch. Because like I said, it could have been the game. It could have been the game losing play where his feet were just like stuck in the mud as the ball gets lollipopped over his head because he wasn't there for help at the time. He doesn't even like know there's a receiver behind him. He turns around. I know. But then he gets an interception. He makes the big 3rd down hit and fucking rocks. Was it Leggett? Who'd he rock? I forget.
Yeah, it was Leggett. Yeah.
So he makes big plays. I think that was his 3rd or 4th pick on the year. But Yeah,
I love the dude. Don't get me wrong, but he's definitely a very hot cold type of player, like just up and down, man.
I think
But I just love the energy he
I
brings.
think he's a risk taker, and I think he's a former corner, and you don't normally see a risk taker at the safety position like that. Like like when we think of great safeties, we think of like the thumpers and the dudes that you don't want to come over the middle, and they're always going to be here to make this play. He's a guy that wants to take a risk and wants to go for the ball. And that's why you see him out of in open space and not where he's supposed to be.
Trying to cheat. Let me ask you this.
I wish you went back to this number as well.
Let me ask you this. Is CGJ closer to Malcolm Jenkins or Jalen Mills?
Oh, God. Oh.
Because Jalen Mills brought the vibes. He brought the energy. He brought the energy.
Because I do believe that CGJ is a lot better than Jalen Mills.
Right?
I do truly believe that.
But he's not as good as Malcolm. He's not as reliable as Malcolm.
Prime Malcolm? Fuck no. Like,
right.
The ending of Malcolm Jenkins, the slower, the older he got, he was getting beat a little. He wasn't the same guy. Our team wasn't that good when he was on his way out. Yeah, your memory gets a little tainted. Prime Malcolm Jenkins, I mean, is he the second or third best safety this organization's ever had?
Of my lifetime, yeah.
Brian Dawkins obviously number one.
I mean, Marshall, you think he's closer to Jalen Mills? I mean, that's an insult, I feel.
Yeah, we're talking about like the gap. Like where on this
pool
is he closer to?
Like Jalen Mills is down here.
Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm's over here.
I don't think he's all the way down here towards Mills. I think he's probably somewhere
in the middle.
In between. That doesn't mean he's close to Malcolm Jenkins.
Right.
But yeah, I do think he was much, much better than Jalen Mills.
For some reason, am I tripping? Why is it? I don't want to say his name because I feel like I'm gonna show my lack of history here. Boy.
What's up?
Nah, he was a corner. Never mind. It's okay.
You're thinking of Troy Vincent?
No. Oh, that's actually a good one, man. Because he played corner and safety for us, I believe.
Did he?
I was younger. No, honestly, man, and it is very novice of me. I was gonna say Eric Allen, but he was definitely a corner.
Oh yeah, he was corner. Yeah.
Legendary
and
corner.
You had our lifetime with Doc. You had Lido and Sheldon on the outside. Dude, there was
Bobby Taylor.
There was a safety with Doc. Was his last name Lewis? Michael Lewis. He cracked mug. Was he 32?
He was 32. Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
Walter Thurman was solid for like just one season, and I think he like retired or something, man. Like, I don't know what happened to that dude. Quentin Michael was solid. I think Bobby Taylor was the one that was opposite of Troy Vincent back.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, hard to remember when I was a child, but
Kurt Coleman was just a big motherfucker. Kurt Coleman was a dude that was looked like he was supposed to lay you out. He laid some people out.
Who's that safety we had a couple years back? Oh, dude, Patrick Chung, chill.
No, Patrick Chung is the epitome
of
players coming to Philadelphia
and dying,
getting how to play their sport, and then leaving and reincarnating,
refiguring it out
where they were prior to coming here.
Marcus Epps is who I was thinking of. He went to the Raiders a couple years back.
That's still pretty fresh.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago, but it's interesting.
Leotis McKelvin I thought was a huge sign. There was nothing bigger than the year. Well, it was actually the Dream Team year, I believe, when we went out and we traded Kevin Cobb for Rogers Cromartie for DRC. And then we still went out and signed Nnamdi, who was like the biggest name on the board. It was Revis, then him in the game at the time from Oakland. And then was that year like was that Jason Babin, Jenkins from the Packers, the D tackle came over here.
Yeah, Cullen Jenkins.
We had those guys. Then we had Bradley Fletcher and Kerry Williams were the worst duo ever. And then it was either slightly before them or right after them that we went out and signed for Byron Maxwell from Seattle, which ended up being like one of the worst deals ever. We traded Shady for Kiko Alonso. He came here, forgot how to play football. Like, dude, it's just there's a list. There's a long list in history.
Yeah. It's
Andre
before my
Wall.
time, man. I won't lie to you.
Jose, that is before my time.
Namdi, I do remember Namdi as a child, man, because I remember him on the Raiders, and he was just this lockdown corner, and I thought we were getting like the best player in the NFL. Like, that's how I felt when we signed Namdi, and it was.
Dude, I got his jersey. I won. You know the long basketball games with the fucked up rims in Wildwood on the boardwalk?
Yeah.
So on the end of the Wildwood Boardwalk, if anyone remembers this, there was a long shot basketball game, and then there was a football game connected to it. There was just a gate in between, and you had to I forget if it was trash cans you had to get it, whatever it was, and they had the jerseys hanging up all on the sides of the gate, and I end up just chucking this prayer, dude. And first of all, when you're a kid and you're on the boardwalk, like, your parents will do anything. So what my mom could have probably just paid for a Nnamdi Asomugha jersey at the time compared to what I spent playing this fucking game to win I chose his jersey. It was the summer we signed him, and they had a Nnamdi Asomugha 24 black jersey, and that's the one I thought. There were legends all over the place.
Yeah. Oh man.
Nnamdi, not stitched Nnamdi jersey, probably stolen from off the truck of somewhere, off the back of a truck, and but it still might be in the corner of my closet. I'm not gonna fuck with you.
Nnamdi, man. What's like the modern day signing? Is it like Bryce Huff? I know he's not nearly as bad of a signing as like a Nnamdi. Yeah, like disappointing. Like, who is that on the current team? Is there anybody?
I don't think on this team. There might be someone
Nobody at that level.
Years. Well, I mean, if
Jake Elliott
defense, I mean, DeMarco Murray and Ryan Matthews came here in the same year, and we thought we were going to have the best backfield ever.
DeMarco Murray
and Ryan Matthews. But Ryan Matthews was better than DeMarco Murray that year. But they paid DeMarco Murray more than they paid Ryan Matthews, so it was like we gotta get him.
I was all in on the DeMarco Murray thing too, man. I was like, take him from the Cowboys. It hurts them, benefits us.
Everybody was. The dude was a tank that year in Dallas.
Yeah, and never again.
And I believe he did not score a touchdown all year long until week 17. He broke one against the Giants in a meaningless fucking football game. And it was just like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. I think our coach, I think that we fired, was that Chip? Did we have Chip that year? I think that's when we fired Chip.
Yeah. Because that was after we traded LaShawn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, we traded LaShawn that offseason. We had to replace him with somebody, so.
There you go. Oh, trip down memory lane. First of all, I know I'm about to jinx the fuck out of this, but we're 48 minutes in, and we're still golden. So let's move on while we can. Martin, strap in, brother. Because let's talk some Sixers. Nah, we're only going to talk Sixers for a couple minutes. And then we'll talk the Jordan Romano signing. Just going to let you know, Martin, he is a closer from the Toronto Blue Jays. Had a down year, a bad year last year, but he was injured. I think he only threw in 14 or 15 games for Toronto last year. But before that was like a 25 to 35 save type of guy, mid to low twos ERA for the last couple of years. So it's 1 year, 7.75. It's not expensive. It's kind of lower risk, high reward if he can, I know we say this all the time in Philadelphia, stay healthy. I don't know his history injury. I think this was just a one-off. Like, this was like the first time he's been injured in his career was last year. So I don't think it's just like this long laundry list of issues this guy's had, but you never know. I just don't want that to be the sole or the big piece the Phillies go and get in their bullpen. Like, don't bring me Jordan Romano the day after Juan Soto signs with your arch nemesis and Tanner Scott is still available and Devin Williams is being shopped. And that, like, there's three, and you still have Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez who are free agents from your bullpen of last year. Like, don't bring me Jordan Romano as the big headline piece in the bullpen this year.
Yeah.
If you give me Jordan Romano and Tanner Scott, or you give me Jordan Romano and bring Hoffman back, which I know sounds crazy the way he looked in the postseason last year, but at the end of the day, it's not like the market's just filled with relievers out there for you. So you have that. There are rumors that Garrett Crochet from the pitcher from the White Sox, is going to be moved by the end of this week. I believe it was Ken Rosenthal and a couple other people on MLB Network all have him coming to Philadelphia. That is huge. And the reason I want to say that this is huge, look, when you see like what the Mets are doing, like I know you have to add to the lineup. No one's suggesting you don't. But I think when you look around and you see the Dodgers and you see what the Mets are doing and you have the Braves who are going to get healthy, you're not going to just outslug these teams. So what can you do to find a difference? Can you load up on top premier arms? And if you have Zach Wheeler, Garrett Crochet, and Aaron Nola as a 3, with Christopher Sanchez, Ranger could be possibly moved to the bullpen at that point. And don't forget, you have oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Andrew Painter coming up. He's supposed to come up. He should be with the club this year. I mean, that is the way, right? Because don't get me wrong. Do I want Alex Bregman? Yes, I do. Do I need a new center fielder or left fielder? Yes, I do. So you have to fix this lineup a little bit. Yeah. But sit here and be like, we need X, Y, and Z, and we can compete. You're going to outslug the Dodgers? You're going to outslug the Mets, who just added Juan Soto? A way you can try to beat them in a series is by acquiring a guy like Garrett Crochet to add to who you have. So, yeah, there's that. Also, there is the fact that Juan Soto is being paid $765 million and is the richest man in professional sports, and it's making more than Shohei Ohtani. And yeah, so
it is interesting. It is interesting. That's why I've kind of just decided let the offseason play out. Yeah, I mean, I was optimistic, or maybe not even optimistic. It's not like I truly believed Soto would come, but it was definitely something that would have made me quite ecstatic. But I do agree. I think it's more of just like that big name signing, which we've tried, man. Like at the end of the day, we've added big names in the past. Maybe it's time to, go more of the route of quantity. I don't want to say quantity over quality. I don't mean it like that, but you know what I'm getting at. Maybe a few more pieces to make up rather than just one player to kind of switch the tide, because
1,000.
What if that one player gets cold in the postseason like the rest of these guys? So, yeah, I do agree with you. I think you can try to strengthen by numbers, right?
Right.
So.
And I think a guy like Alex Bregman specifically is a guy you look at just different from what this core is and what this lineup is.
Experience,
right?
all
Luis
of it.
Roberts' name with the White Sox is being shopped around and talked about a package with Crochet. And I'm not saying I won't take it, but you were talking about the same guy just that the Phillies have just fucking magnified by 1,000 because he's worse than all of them at plate discipline and chase rate and power or bust or nothing. So listen, the dude hits piss missiles. Not saying I want to take it within a package specifically with Crochet. That's not like your move though on the offensive end. You know what I'm talking about? You need guys in the middle of this lineup that can work counts, that don't chase when there's 2 outs and 2-2 count and a runner on third, can get him in, can shorten up and just put the ball in play. And that's not what this lineup is loaded with. So we're going to see, man. The one thing I'm hesitant to do or lock into, that with the one guy that's name is being shopped around quite often, I feel like, is Costi. And I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly pissed off at it. Slightly. Because he's the one dude besides Bryce, and he was even better than Bryce in the short series that you did have, the short lifespan you did have in the postseason this year. It's the one dude that fucking showed up. The one dude that showed heart. He didn't just show up. He tore the fucking cover off the baseball. I don't know that I'm ready to just ship off Nick Castellanos from this team. Especially because, like, at that point, what are you upgrading? You know what I mean? Like, how, if you were shipping off Nick Castellanos, that puts a hole in right field. What are you putting there? Yeah. So that would be my biggest question mark. But Boehm, sayonara.
Yeah.
Hate to say this, but like Marsh, Rojas, don't really care. Like, if, Yeah. So
I agree.
Those are the positions I'd be looking at right now. But anyway, man. 4 of their last 5. Did you tell me they've won 4 straight with Paul George in the lineup?
4 straight with podcast P? Yeah, man. Like
Tyrese Maxey?
I don't know what to think
triple-double
of it.
yesterday with the big fella back in the lineup. Big fella
Tyrese
doing big fella
Johnson,
things.
Magic Maxey, Tyrese Johnson. Which one you want him to go by?
Two games out of the 8 seed. I'm just Martian. I'm just saying it's December. It's December, Martian.
Funny enough, man, Maxey was still 3 for 12 from the 3-point line in this game.
Yeah, he's been pissing me off. It's not like I guess it's not his fault that the shots just aren't. I don't know. I will say this. All right. I don't want to steer the conversation in a negative direction because good things have been happening for this team over the last 4 or 5 games. But we keep focusing on health. And Joel's got to get healthy and be on the floor. And PG has to stay on the floor. And Caleb, they have to stay healthy. Is it crazy of me to say that even if they have the big three together, the whole roster is fully healthy? If this is the version of Tyrese Maxey you're getting, you can't win a championship. Is that too outlandish? Scotty's he's shooting like 26% from 3-point land.
Yeah.
Like he's not atrocious.
I think there's a world where you can. Let me see how many minutes he's averaging per game. Where are we at? 36.7. He had 44 in yesterday's game. That's why I was interested. You have an opportunity to give some of those minutes to Jared McCain, man. And Jared McCain has been a little more efficient, obviously smaller sample size, smaller responsibility. But I think you do have a guy in McCain now that is reliable. I think he's been consistent enough over the course of the season so far that maybe you can get more out of him if you need it, even with this lineup fully healthy. So I do think that's something to consider. But yeah, Maxey simply has to be better. I mean, I was sitting here talking about, maybe an MVP type of run for Tyrese Maxey. You look at his numbers last year. I mean, they were incredible. Especially if you take a look from the year before and how he jumped. Obviously, that's why he won Most Improved Player. But I am curious, winning the award and getting the max contract over the summer. I'm curious how much work he got in over the summer compared to previous years where we've seen these massive jumps. Now it's just kind of, it's a lot of shots to get, 20, 25 points. And, he's getting better as a playmaker. Career high in assists last night. Obviously helped out on the boards. He's stepping up in other facets of the game to try to make up for the lack of shooting. But yeah, at the end of the day, he's going to have to be able to knock down the 3-point shot when it comes down to it, man. So
and the roller coaster this season has been for the team as a whole, and Maxey specifically, to Jose's point, is like, with the lack of playing time he's had with a newly acquired Paul George, with a bunch of new guys on the roster, and then Joel, who obviously is the focal point, the ball dominant guy, getting the majority of the shots, is when you don't have that camaraderie, you don't have them all together for an extended period of time, and they're in and out of the lineup. It is a little bit more difficult for Maxey to figure out his game. And I think we've also seen, because again, remind you, he's 24 years old, that he's just not a number one yet, like a number one on a good team.
Yeah.
Like he has the ability to be a number one scoring option, etc. But being that steady, put everybody on his back for an extended period of time with no other help, he's not quite like that level of star right now. And so it's been a roller coaster for him. But like you said, for him, I'll put it this way, for him to have a triple-double in Joel's first game back in 2+ weeks, it was nice to see. It was nice to see the playmaking portion of it all. It was nice to see the defensive effort by everybody yesterday. I was flipping back and forth when the Eagles were at halftime and all. Joel obviously couldn't hit from 3, but Paul George they shot like shit from 3 yesterday again, which is something that frustrates me, man, because this team, we thought they acquired so many good guys, so many guys that can space the floor and knock down open threes, and they're just not yet this season, which is annoying. But there is a guy I wanted to ask you about, because he's been the one kind of trade chip people have thrown out there. Is this little run that KJ Martin is on right now? Are you keeping KJ Martin around? Like, is KJ Martin a piece when you dissect this roster for what it is right now? When you have seen the injuries and the inconsistency of Caleb Martin and Kelly Oubre, and you have a guy like Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon and Reggie Jackson who aren't seeing the floor and maybe shouldn't see the floor, you're starting to shrink that rotation a bit, and you need guys like that. He can play D. He can get up. He can run in transition. That corner three, we mentioned the bad three-point shooting as a team. He's knocking down the corner three pretty well this year, man. Is KJ Martin a piece in the rotation that you want to see continuing to move forward?
Yeah, definitely. Until the trade deadline, especially. I don't think I would rule him untradeable. Is where my mind goes immediately. I think he's good. I think he's a lot better than what he was last year. I think at the end of the day, if you don't find the right trade to move him for, then yeah, he's a valuable piece that could come in handy, depending on the matchup in the postseason. But at the end of the day, I think with the shooting concerns around the entire team, if you can give him up and get a like a Jared McCain, like that type of level, like what Tyrese Maxey is supposed to be from the 3-point line, right? You need a prolific shooter to add to this group, man, because as we've seen so far, Caleb Martin isn't it from the 3-point line. Kelly Oubre isn't consistent enough from the 3-point line. Paul George and Tyrese Maxey aren't giving you enough from the 3-point line. Eric Gordon hasn't been reliable from the 3-point line. So I think they do need some sort of added shooting at the trade deadline. And if KJ Martin is kind of that piece that you have to, kind of pry away to get that, I wouldn't be against doing it. But I do think, to your point, he has shown that he's a valuable piece. And something that's interesting is the talk around Yabusele now, right? And there's been talk now this was more in the idea around the Sixers selling and basically tanking for the rest of the season, but moving him, he's a valuable piece. He's a guy that can contribute to a playoff team. He would have a lot of suitors. Do you move Yabusele or KJ Martin? I know the price tags are completely different, so it depends on the return. But it was interesting in this game. I was wondering, I was going to ask you because I didn't watch much of this game yesterday. Yabusele only gets 14 minutes in this game compared to what he's been getting of late, right? KJ Martin gets 18, so maybe they're just, straight up splitting those minutes. But it was just interesting seeing Joel back that Yabusele's minutes significantly went down. So I don't know, man. I think for now you have time. I think that's the good thing right now. You have time. You're going to have plenty of playing time to give to KJ Martin because I'm sure Embiid will be in and out of the lineup as we go, depending on the matchup and how the road trips look. So, yeah, he's been a bright spot, to put it that way. And to answer your question, yes, he has been a bright spot. Is he completely unmovable? No. But, I'm biased towards Jared McCain. Obviously, I'm a Duke fan. I'm biased towards him. Is he unmovable? I don't know.
Yeah, the word unmovable is like in this scenario, I would say yes, they're unmovable because we're talking about almost like selling, right? Not trying.
What are you going to get back?
The word unmovable comes to mind when we used to talk about like who's unmovable if we're trading for James Harden, who's unmovable,
right?
No one outside of Joel Embiid and Tyler are unmovable, right? For like that level, right?
Yeah, to be fair,
when you're talking about in this scenario. Like, what's worth more? Kind of giving up on this season and whatever little piece you get back or draft compensation you get back for KJ Martin, or having KJ Martin in the rotation come April and May. And Jared, so I think these guys are more valuable right now. I just think you're starting to find a lot of hard truths about some of this team. And I don't think I think it's about guys that we thought could really contribute this year. And
are you talking about Caleb Martin?
Yeah, I am.
That's who it affects. That's who it impacts in reality.
It's tough because they're locked in for 4 years. And I don't want to sit here and tell you that 25 games into Caleb Martin when he's only played like 3 games with Joel Embiid, 4 games with Joel Embiid and Paul George, is the deciding factor in what his tenure is going to look like. But it's the things that he can control that are bothering me right now. There's always been a little bit of a hitch in Caleb Martin's shot. There's none where, like, we were making fun of Mikal Bridges in the offseason. There's something wrong with Caleb Martin's either shoulder or whatever it is. He has altered that hitch, and it is disgusting. He has airballed free throws. He has airballed wide open 3-pointers. He has thrown ropes right at the front of the rim and clanked. I've watched this dude get out in transition, lose his balance, and turn the ball over 5 different times this year already. He's not the smartest player. First of all, he's the only guy I know that continues to take the long twos in the NBA because his lack of court awareness is unbelievable. The amount of deep twos he has taken and or made this year because his toe is on the line is ridiculous. And I'm not talking about in the corner where you don't have a lot of wiggle room to work with and you don't want to step out of bounds. I'm talking on the wing or the top.
He can't shoot outside of the corners. That's the simple truth. Like you said, he airballs when he shoots from anywhere other than the corner 3-point shot. So
he's been such a struggle to watch.
Maybe he should just sit for a little bit, man. He's dealing with like a lower back injury or something right now. You don't need to have any other impairments that are, causing you to struggle right now. You were already struggling. So just take a little break or something, For
sure. Kyle Lowry.
I'm good on him, man.
I don't think there's anything left, Scotty.
Yeah.
He started the year when we were struggling and injured, shooting like 80% from the 3-point line. Scotty, I'm not kidding. I haven't watched Kyle Lowry make a 3 since October.
He made one yesterday somehow.
I haven't watched him make a 3. And outside of like yesterday and a random Saturday night game they played, I've probably watched 93% of Sixers basketball this year.
6 games straight without a 3 that Kyle Lowry has played in up until yesterday where he went 1 for 2.
And he's missed time before then. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
So I'm good on him, man. Eric Gordon was a guy I thought could stretch the floor in the beginning of the year. He was shooting it. He's too inconsistent from 3 right now. And I know as a shooter, he needs continuous reps, so it's tough. But if you're not knocking down that 3 at his age with his size and his lack of athleticism and defense, what are you providing on the court if you can't make open 3s, right? But again, granted, isn't Eric Gordon a guy you envisioned around Joel Embiid?
I thought, yeah.
Oh, but that's my point. He hasn't played with Joel Embiid because Joel Embiid hasn't played basketball. So
it's just been how clunky his shots looked, man. Like his shot, it just hasn't, the stroke doesn't look good. Like what you would think Eric Gordon, this prolific over his career. So to your point, maybe the looks get more open with Joel and maybe he can open up a little bit more. I wanted to ask you this about Caleb Martin because my mind's been stuck there since you brought him up, man. Would you prefer Ricky Council right now? And I'm not saying Ricky Council has been this mind-blowing guy. But he does give you something. Energy, explosiveness.
He does.
But he does have the occasional idiot thing.
Ricky is not either mature enough to be out there with consistent minutes. Because he does. He gets into a little bit of, I don't want to even call it a rhythm because it's not a rhythm, but he'll go out of control on a fast break into 2 defenders and throw something over his head and hit the top of the backboard and it'll go the other way. He'll take an ill-advised step back 3. I don't love the extended Ricky Council minutes, but again,
at least Caleb doesn't shoot.
To me, there's been a few too many deflating Caleb Martin moments this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what his career numbers are. I don't have them in front of me. Maybe he's never been a great free throw shooter. Scotty, I texted you I think it was a Clippers game at home. He got fouled on a 3 with no time left before halftime. I think we were down. We were either tied or down by 1. He has a chance for 3 free throws at the line. Comes up and clanks the first 2 and maybe makes the last one or missed all 3. I don't remember. But he's a terrible 3-point shooter. He's a terrible free throw shooter. He's turning the ball over. He's nowhere as near lockdown as I remember him being in Miami against these other elite wings in the league. Maybe that was just more so Miami's scheme and all, team defense. He just doesn't seem to be the player that I thought he was.
To be fair to your point made earlier, no Joel Embiid, that is, the Heat have Bam Adebayo at protecting their rim, grabbing the boards. Caleb Martin probably does need Joel Embiid behind him on the defensive
end.
Again,
That's why I don't want to say things that I can't walk back and completely
I feel that.
On these guys, because the vision has been and always will be around Joel Embiid. I just think the part where we get let down is you're still missing open shot. Like, whether Joel Embiid's out there or not, Eric Gordon, you were wide open on the wing for 3 shots in a row. You went 0 for 3. Caleb Martin, you were wide open in the corner. You did that. And it's like, you're still, whether he's out there or not, you're wide open. So that's the part that bothers you. But when Joel's only played in 5 total games this year, it's hard.
It's simplifies really hard
to see everything.
He takes stress off of people's plates when he plays. Like, he takes responsibility off of people's plates. Like, they can play a little bit freer when they don't have to think about how they're going to play make for the next guy, because you have a guy that gets the ball and draws a double team every time. So, like, Caleb Martin's coming out thinking, like, I got to get, PG going. I got to get Maxey going. I got to get these guys the ball. I'm the connector piece. I'm the playmaker, right? And same thing with Tyrese Maxey. I think we do, like, to your point, give them a little bit of more time with Joel. Hopefully Joel can stay healthy, stay in the lineup for a little bit of consistency here, man. I was glad that, now that we bring Joel up a little bit here, I'm glad that he, like, let us in to a little bit of what's going on. And that's why I did want to give him grace when he talks about personal issues, because he is depressed. He is missing games, and it would bother him. It would bother me too. It is bothering me that he's missing games, but it makes me more comfortable that it does bother him at the end of the day, if I'm being honest. So,
well, because then you don't have to question his want to and his care for the team, and the fans and the city, and
that's what it comes down
like that. Because the one thing that bothers you, and I get it, it's human, and I think when he lets you in, it's, you get to see it, but it does bother me when, like, Paul George misses 5 straight games. Paul George is on the bench in street clothes every single game.
Yeah.
Paul George is at every shoot around. Paul George is doing this. Paul George is on a road trip. In this time that Joel Embiid missed, I only saw him at the last 2 games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and then like Keith Pompey on Friday puts out Embiid's at shoot around. Has he not been at shoot around for the last 9 or 8 games?
I feel you.
You have to, and I think that's probably part of what Maxey called him out for. It's not just being on time; it's being there at all at time. And maybe he is. Maybe he's, but then, like, you know what I mean? Why would Joel Embiid just be behind the scenes? He's just chilling in the locker room, getting treatment all the time. Like, I highly doubt that as well. So it's like you're the star, you're the bit. You have to be there for your guys, and that's how chemistry and camaraderie is built. Even when you're not on the floor, and when you're not, it makes people question your care, your want to, your will, your heart, everything. So,
but I do think more than what we've seen earlier in the season, yesterday, the clips that I did get to see, a little bit of the game that I did get to watch. One, yes, I did see how skinny he looked. He's obvious, like, in my eyes, he's obviously been just getting himself into shape over the last few weeks, conditioning, because he's lost a ton of weight even since we've seen him 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But he also looked a little bit happier when he was playing, man. The last time we saw him, he was down there with the slumped shoulders, the head down. He was out there playing with a little bit more energy yesterday, it looked like to me. So we'll keep an eye on it, man. And he's not scot-free here. Like, he needs to play games this season by all means. Like, I'm not, putting the cape on for Joel here today either, man. He needs to play games. He needs to come on because it is go time. Like, it's been go time. But now that we've seen 4 out of 5 W's, it's definitely go time. You got to build on that now. Brian, all W's. That's all I can say. Like, I do feel you. I feel you to an extent, but all W's, brother. See, and it's funny. I looked at it 31 points in 33 minutes. He looks at it 31 points, 28 shots. So I guess that's just the difference in perspective, right?
The theme of my show was context, and I'm not saying he's wrong. 31 points on 28 shots is not a good night.
Right.
You look like a chucker. It's not an efficient night. It's not a good night. You were 0 for 5 from 3, whatever.
Yeah.
It's Joel Embiid's first game back in 2.5 weeks. like people just they just act like it's the same thing when he first played. And that's the part that's to stop. I'm not excusing it and saying, well, because how many times are we going to say it's his first game back, dude? I need you on the floor. I'm tired of the phrase ramping up. That should be the slogan. It's no longer the process. It's Joel the ramp up Embiid because that's all he's been doing for 95% of this season in the summer. But context is the 270-pound, 7'1" monster played in his first NBA action in 17 days. It's not going to look very pretty. And it didn't.
Yeah.
Still scored 31 points. The Hurts thing, yes, Brian, I know. 108 yards. I'm not saying he looked good. But you say 19 passes. What the fuck are 19 passes in the National Football League? Did he throw the ball 33? No, he threw the ball.
That was Brian Pumper's one comment today. I appreciate it, though, Brian. Thanks for tuning in, man.
I appreciate the dedication of the haterade that Brian provides to each other. I almost admire it. So
yeah.
I'm glad that he continues.
Debo Samuel just tweeted 31 minutes ago, it looks like. I'm not struggling at all, just not getting the ball. So he's drinking.
See, now it makes AJ Brown look like a fucking saint.
Right. It doesn't look like that. AJ's just normal.
If AJ tweeted that right now, then I'd be like, oh my God, what is he doing? But yeah, that's the diva that we were talking about the other day on Turf Talk, man. But anyway, guys, I think that's it. Scotty, an hour and 16 minutes. Victory Monday for the Eagles.
About to go do it again. Yeah. NBA style now.
There you go, guys. Make sure to tap into the Scotty Talks NBA YouTube channel, the To the Galaxy Pod YouTube channel as well. Sir. Check them out on Twitter. And check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. For myself or Scotty, we will be back Wednesday. Talking more Eagles, talking more Sixers. Hopefully the Phillies have made another move as free agency and those winter meetings start to buzz and leak out. The Flyers, Matvei Michkov. Hopefully we're talking about them in the near future. But tap in, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We appreciate each and every one of you, and have a great rest of your night.
Peace, everybody.